this is the Why We Hate Tennessee segment. Now, Tennessee fans, you've been running your mouth. You've been running off at the chops so much. But the truth is, what do you have to talk about? You didn't win a single game in conference last year. And yes, you play in the SEC, but you play in the East. And everyone knows about the SEC East. It's garbage. And you were the bottom of the barrel. But you haven't just been bad for one season. In the past 5 years, you're 34-29, while West Virginia is 36-28.
Hello? Do you do math? That's only one less loss. What's your point?
So what do you do then? You'd go to divert the conversation towards history. Well, what good does that do you? Johnny Majors? Who cares about Johnny Majors? Next, you're going to start telling us about rotary phones and how great they were. No one cares, except for you, Tennessee.
Hello? At least we have a history. What's up, Facebook? What's going on, YouTubes? I'm bringing you a special video. We hadn't done this in a while, where we got some other YouTube content creators out there for other teams. And a lot of y'all that watch me got introduced to these guys. Well, one of them's on the show. The other one couldn't make it. Last year, the first game of the season with West Virginia, they made a great hate week video, and y'all saw in the clips coming into this show some excerpts, some of the better excerpts of that. And I just want to introduce to y'all one of the members of the Raspy Voice Kids, Brandon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Great to be on the Volunteer Row Show.
So that video, that got a lot of views. And I made a rebuttal about that. And
yeah.
Billy, did you see that video? I sent it to you? You weren't part of the Volunteer Roadshow back then, but what did you think about it?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. After watching the video, man, I was just thinking, what the heck were they thinking? I mean, were they dreaming or what? And come out and the predictions they came up with, and then they get what they got. I was like, wait a minute, man, that's crazy. But it happened.
So tell us about the making of that video there, and the kind of the impetus for that Why We Hate Tennessee, and that's kind of a theme y'all do throughout the season.
Yeah, so we've been doing our podcast this is our third season coming up. And what we would do is we would make a YouTube video for at least one segment of each podcast. And what we started with was Why We Hate. And we wanted to do each team that we played why we hate. We would come up with the reasons why we hated that team. And part of why we did it, if you understand West Virginia, is we don't have any rivals in the Big 12. There's some people who want to manufacture rivalries, but you know how that works. You're either a rival or you're not, and we don't have any real rivalries. So we came up with reasons for our team or our fan base to hate whoever we were playing. Some of them serious reasons, most of the time tongue-in-cheek. And we had changed that by last season to just quit. So whoever we were playing, we were explaining why that team should just quit. But Tennessee being new to our schedule, having not played them in recent memory, we decided they deserved to get a Why We Hate video. And we were keyed up for it, man. We wanted to start a conversation, and boy, did we. We started one.
I tell you what, you know what bothered me the most about that video is a lot of it was true.
That's the hardest part.
That bothered me more than anything. I said, I've got to make a rebuttal to this. And I kept trying to think of some facts or something to squash the assertions you and Jeremy were making. And I just couldn't come up with one. I said, I'm just going to turn the camera on and see what happens. And then my rebuttal came up, and man, West Virginia fans came out of the woodwork, and they were atting me like crazy. What did you think when you first saw that rebuttal I made?
I thought it was hilarious. I'll tell you the honest truth. I laughed so hard. I couldn't wait to show my dad. And it also made me feel like I made it. I was like, hey, we made something here because this dude responded to us, and he's got way more followers than us. So I thought your rebuttal was great. And like you said, the hardest part is the true stuff. So you can either get mad or you can laugh. And I chose to laugh with all the stuff you said. I especially like when you said don't go there. No, it's great, man. I still quote it. I still talk to people about it. So, and to be honest, it's our number one most watched video we ever made.
Awesome.
Hey, well, tell me that. Hey, enough with last year, man. What do you think your boys gonna look like this with West Virginia, man? Are they gonna be okay since they lost the Heisman candidate trophy quarterback with Will Grill? How you guys gonna look this year?
Well, it really depends on what you mean by be okay. Because standards they're different depending on where you are and depending on who you are. For West Virginia, we're not going to compete for a Big 12 championship unless something magical happens. And sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle, but I don't anticipate that. I'm expecting this team to be good enough to be bowl eligible, with about 8 wins being the ceiling. And I think most reasonable West Virginia fans will tell you the same thing. We had a lot of turnover, not just in personnel, but in the coaching staff, complete turnover in the coaching staff, everything minus the strength team. We lost an all Big 12 safety. We lost another safety that had lots of starting experience in Derek Pitts. And we just figured out who our quarterback is going to be in Austin Kendall. So a transfer from Oklahoma. So there's just a lot that is going to be different. Everything's new. So we're going to find out really what this team is and what it's about. But if I had to guess and if I had to gamble, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I wouldn't bet any more than 8 wins. And I can't see us losing any more than 6 or 7.
What were you thinking about when they named the starting quarterback Austin Kendall? I know it just announced this past Friday. We don't have our ear to the ground up there in Mountaineer country, so we don't know the quarterback battle. But tell us about the quarterback battle and how you feel about them naming Austin Kendall as the starting quarterback.
Well, Austin Kendall's a transfer from Oklahoma, so he's been behind first Baker Mayfield, then he's behind Kyler Murray, 2 Heisman Trophy winners. So it's really hard to gauge what you have in a player who's not playing because he's behind 2 Heisman winners. But most people expected him to win the job. Now, he was a little bit nicked up in the spring and in the summer, so it was hard to see exactly what you were going to get out of him. He didn't look good in the spring game from my perspective and from most people's perspectives. He was pushed by another transfer, another 4-star transfer, this one from Miami, and Jack Allison, who did not look good in backup duty for Will Grier and who did not look good in the bowl game against Syracuse, but has all the physical attributes that you're looking for in a quarterback. Not as mobile as Austin Kendall, and I think that might be part of the separation that Austin Kendall had in order to win the job. It was interesting. They actually didn't name the starting quarterback until Tuesday, the 20th. And when he named the quarterback, he said that Austin Kendall won the job. He didn't say that Jack Allison or Trey Lowe, who was a redshirt freshman, lost the job or that they just weren't up to snuff. He, in fact, said that he was actually pleased with their development. It was more that Austin Kendall had separated himself and won the job. And I think most Mountaineer fans expected that and are happy with that.
Yeah, I can see that too. And, losing that much stuff and you got a lot of talent coming in like that. Of course, with the new coach coming in with Coach Neal Brown, he's a high-powered coach too, man. Coming out of Troy, man. He had Troy all over the field with a lot of yards, a lot of stats, and being with a quarterback like Austin coming in. I can see him doing a lot with this kid. So what do you think about you guys getting Neal Brown this year?
It's a home run hire. To be honest, Neal Brown had no business being available at that point in time, that late in the off season. So it was a real blessing for West Virginia to have gotten him. He's been on Shane Lyons, who's our athletic director. He's been on his radar. Every good AD has a good short list, and Neal Brown was definitely on that list, and Shane Lyons did a good job going out and getting him. As you mentioned at Troy, he showed that he's an excellent coach. He was able to beat LSU in Death Valley. He had Clemson on the ropes in their national championship season. He was able to beat Nebraska, and all of that at a school that is a Group of 5 school. So he knows how to do more with less. He's already proven that. Coming to West Virginia is definitely a step up, but he's still not in a blue blood program. So he's still going to be required to do more with less, but it's something that he's accustomed to and something he's comfortable with. he said already that we will be great. That's his quote. He said, "We will be great." Now, when, I can't say, but we will be great. And I like that mindset. I like that attitude. I like that expectation. But, West Virginia, we understand that it's not going to be a year in and a year out thing. It's more of a 3, 4, 5 years that you can expect to compete for conference championships when things are going the way that you want them to go.
One of the things you said in your opening there, that he turned over his whole coaching staff except for the strength and conditioning coaches. And I tell you, Billy, this is probably a good opportunity for you to pipe in and how important it is to retaining that strength and conditioning coach.
I preach this all the time at every level or whatever. I mean, any college, if anybody, you want to get rid of with the whole coaching staff, there's parts of the staff that you just don't get rid of, and strength and conditioning is a huge part of the staff, because this is the only part of the staff besides the medical staff that sees these kids more than anybody. You're talking about 4 or 5 years that these guys are with them at least 4 or 5 hours a day, whereas none of the other coaches get to see them in the all-seniors the way the strength and conditioning guys, because they're with them that much. They get to spend more time with the kids than anybody. So it is, I mean, it's great to hear that they kept their strength and conditioning coach, because, when these new coaches come in, they don't have to train these guys to teach them how to be a certain way, or tell them we need to get them this big, or teach them how to become a lot faster. They already have that same thing. They're already synchronized already. And for them to have a coach that coming in like Neal Brown, I mean, this is going to be great for West Virginia, man. I'm serious. I mean, I don't think you realize what caliber coach this man is, because when I say things about coaches, I believe in coaches that are player coaches that you said that can get anything and the most out of little talent that they have. He got that out of kids from Troy. Troy has some great players, but they didn't have the players that West Virginia are recruiting. West Virginia has some great guys that's over there. They keep good running backs. They always have receivers. Last year, I mean, I think they underachieved, but I really think they'll be better than they were last year, just because of the strength and conditioning coach and this coach that's coming in, because no one expects for West Virginia to win at all this year.
Well, I agree with that. Nobody expects us to win anything, and there is a lot of talent on this team. There really is. The question is the quarterback position. And whether or not the receivers will be mature enough. But the actual talent is there. You're right about that. You're 100% right.
Billy, it sounds an awful lot like the off season before the 98 season. We lost Peyton Manning. We had a new quarterback coming in. Do you see the similarities?
I mean, I see some of it, man. I mean, they still got some work to do. I mean, we had plenty of talent that came after those guys. So, and I don't know what West Virginia backups are, but I mean, I know they had a lot of kids that played a lot. And when you have kids that been on the field a lot, that means a lot. With the starters, some of the guys came back on offense. That's huge. When I think of, like he said, they have some younger guys at receiver and they have a question mark at quarterback. That's where Neal Brown comes in at and make them the X factor of that offense. The offensive line is there to protect those guys. That's all he needs. The skill players are there. He needs some kids that can catch and go. If he has that, it is going to be a tough task for the Big 12 this year with West Virginia.
I hope you're right. I really do. What I look forward to is not losing games because of a lack of discipline or a lack of focus, which is definitely an Achilles heel for Dana Holgorsen. We lost games over the last decade that we had no business losing, including being up 31-14 against Oklahoma State to sew up a chance for to be in the Big 12 title game, and blew that game. And we didn't blow it because they were better than us. We blew it because we lacked attention to detail. We lacked focus. So you're right. Neal Brown can make that difference. I don't think attention to detail. I don't think focus. I don't think discipline will be the issue.
Well,
but I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
It would be a lot easier if you guys would stop stealing players from our state like Darnell Wright.
But that felt so good.
Yeah.
Seeing him announce for Tennessee. Because we've been needing an offensive line, and we got another 5-star coming in also. And I'm telling you, I know I say this every year, but this is our year, Brandon. I'm telling you, I know it sounds crazy, but this is our year. And life in the SEC is hard. And that brings me to this one point. I watch your stuff all the time. I don't comment because a lot of times I'm driving and listening. But I checked one of your podcasts out where you was talking about West Virginia going into the SEC. I remember they were talking about West Virginia back before we added 2. But what do you think about West Virginia if there's ever an expansion or maybe replacing an existing SEC team? Because I think they fit to the SEC. What do you think?
I think culturally you're spot on. I mean, culturally, football is king. We tailgate with the best of them. I think we fit in academically. I think we do just fine in the East, barring Georgia, as of lately anyway. But I think we do really well, especially with regional rivalries with Kentucky, Tennessee, of course, not far away. And I'll tell you, for all the trash talking, because there was so much trash talking online before that game, when it got down to it in Charlotte, everybody was so nice. I mean, that was one of the best games that I've been to, from the pregame stuff to during the game. It was really great. Everybody was really great. And I think a lot of West Virginia fans would like to be in the SEC, not just because of the clout, not just because SEC is recognized as the best conference in college football almost always nationally, but just because it'll be nice to be someplace where we're not flying hours upon hours and changing time zones just to play our nearest opponent.
Yeah, that travel. How much does that travel really affect you? You played at a high level, Billy, from 95 to 99. You had to do a lot of traveling. How does that really affect the players, especially if you're doing it every week or every other week?
I mean, it never did bother me. I mean, because typically, we go out a day before, and only trips I really have issues with, we have to go all the way out to UCLA or something like that. But that's only one game per year. I mean, the flights are not that bad, especially if you got, space to stretch your legs. Now, flying back home is always the toughest part after a game because you got guys cramping up in tight spaces. So it's tough when it comes to that with big 300-pounders cramping up like that. So it never had an issue as far as with me. I can see that with like basketball players where they have to travel every other day and stuff like that. But football players every week, I don't think it's an issue.
Well,
I think it's for WVU the worst. I know we're talking about football, but it's worse for basketball season. That's when it really kills us. That's when it really takes a toll.
Most definitely, man. Because I can't even imagine, man, every other day or something, or every 3 days getting on a plane and flying. No matter, because you never know where you're flying at. Sometimes you go out to UCLA, you're going up to New York, Syracuse, and that's a lot of traveling. It's tough on your body.
Well, y'all can talk all you want. Ain't nobody travels as much as me. Now I couldn't go suited up. I'm driving 700 miles a day, every day, so I don't want to hear. There's no crying in football. But anyway, tell me about what you got in store, your growth. Are you still doing them Why We Hate videos, and have you done any lately?
We do we reserve Why We Hate for the teams we haven't played, and we just did one for James Madison University. Now, you might be surprised. Why are you picking on James Madison? Well, the simple answer is because we play them. People ask us that all the time. Why do you hate Tennessee? Because we play them. We don't actually hate most of these teams we're talking about. But we talked about James Madison, and I had to go after him a little bit. A lot of people talk about James Madison University because he, of course, was the fourth president of the United States. But I make mention of the fact that he was only 5'4", and I think that has something to do with their inferiority complex. They talk about the fact that he wrote in the Constitution. Well, he said that I was 3/5 of a person. I said that's because he's only 3/5 of a person, which is why they're only about 3/5 of a program being FCS. We're going to do one for North Carolina State because the game got rained out because of a hurricane last year. And then we're going to do one for Mizzou because we got Missouri on the schedule. So Kelly Bryant and company, they're going to get it too.
Yeah, y'all need to bring it to Kelly Bryant. I'm telling you, everybody is really high on Missouri this year. And I think the only thing they got going for them is they got a high school schedule. I don't think Kelly Bryant's the quarterback that Drew Lock is. If they had a harder schedule, people wouldn't be so high on them. But good luck to to Missouri, buddy.
Well, yeah, I hope we get them. I think we got a shot, but we got to go out there. It'll be an interesting game. Anytime you're playing a mobile quarterback like that, it's a bit of a wild card.
Well, the main reason why I want you to beat them is because our former head coach, Derek Dooley's the offensive coordinator. We can't let him, get any last laughs on Tennessee, where he beat a team that beat us last year. So go out there and kick their tail, buddy.
That's the plan. That is the plan, 100%.
Well, guys, it's been a great show here with the Raspy Voice Kids. Half of it anyway. Jeremy couldn't make it, but Brandon's here. They do a phenomenal job. I mean, they've had Pat McAfee on. I mean, they've done. You should watch their stuff. I'm gonna put a link in the description to not only their nonsensical video from last year about why we hate Tennessee. I'm going to put my rebuttal video in the link in the description, but go sub these guys up. They need your support. They do great content, and I'm telling you, you can tell they're really into college football, because college football is the best sport on the planet, period. It's better than the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. It's better than them two communist sports, hockey and soccer. It's just you can't beat it because of the fans.
That's true.
That's what I said. I wanted to say is, like, you watch the NFL, they're exchanging jerseys after the game. There's only one place where people still hate, and that's college football. I hate entire conferences.
That's right.
There's only one place where that hate reigns supreme, and that's in college football.
That's right, buddy. I love it, and you're in the culture. You said earlier that culturally you fit in the SEC, and that's exactly the way we are in the SEC. I used to, before I started this YouTube channel, I used to pick my friends based on their college football allegiances. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's serious.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You got to be careful.
Yeah. You can't trust any Alabama fans. I can tell you that right now.
You can't trust any Michigan fans either, unless you're taking a math test.
Wow.
All right, buddies. Well, y'all know what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in. Go Vols.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you something right now. West Virginia got lucky. If Tennessee would have had one more week to prepare, we would have beat the crap out of West Virginia. I promise you that.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, this is your show. I'll let you think what you want to think.